Question everything. So let's talk about it. We're sitting here, we're talking about gun violence and violence. But yet still, when you talk about violence, we're not talking about the promotion of violence. We're not talking about the promotion of gun violence. We're talking about violence and stopping violence. We're talking about stopping gun violence, but we're not talking about stopping the promotion of violence. Now, what kind of logic is that? Let's think about that. We are adults here, and a lot of us are parents, and a lot of us are just young adults and teenagers learning to be adults. So with that stated, as adults here and parents here, is it logical to ask to stop violence and gun violence without stopping the promotion of violence and gun violence? Wouldn't you want to stop the promotion of violence and gun violence first? Think about it. Let's comprehend this together as adults here, because they're all over the place wanting to stop violence, they say. But no one is talking about stopping the profiting of promoting gun violence. And as adults, hopefully we done been to college and we done graduated from school and we have some education on ourselves to understand when it comes to comprehending stopping violence, the most logical way to stop it is to stop the promotion of it first. That would be the very first way to go. But notice how you're wealthy and you're rich, who controls the promotion of violence, is not talking about stopping the promoting. Why? Because they're getting paid off for it. It benefits them to promote it, but it don't benefit us in our communities to have it. Because violence is violence, and no one wants to lose their loved one. That's just a reality, I would hope. Not to prison, nor to losing them off the planet. Either way, we don't want that in our communities. And that is a just thought. But in order to have less violence, we first got to attack the promotion of violence. Think about it. Give yourself a second and comprehend that reality. Because see, O'Shea Jackson was talking about it the other day, how the same people that's promoting gangster rap in our communities are the same people that are owning the actual private prisons. The same people. And think about it. If the same people that are promoting this gangster rap and this darn right dirty culture to our people are the same ones controlling the prisons and the private prisons, they're telling you that this is what they want to go on in our community because they're willing to promote it to get paid off for it. They don't care about your children and what's happening to your children. This is just a reality to it. And if you promote something enough, eventually, because there's billions of people on the planet, if you play the numbers game, you're going to get a certain collective number of people who's going to act out what you're promoting. Let's think about that for a minute. Can we comprehend that? Because of the number game and being billions of people on the planet, what you promote, eventually a certain number of people will play out what you're promoting. This is not rocket science here. This is something that we got to comprehend amongst ourselves in order to understand why we have so much violence in our communities and so much violence in the country. We're not going to just go on what we already know because the country was built off of violence. Go figure. And the people that got rich off of violence and enslavement of a people are the ones who promoting the violence through their mainstream medias, their control radios, their manipulation of music and so on. Think about it. Comprehend this. At your action TV is more violent than action anything could be action. I'm doing an action right now, but ain't nobody getting hurt. So when you think of action TV and it promotes violence, and then you think of the numbers game of how many people that's seeing this that may actually go out and commit the violence, you got to ask yourself, why is we promoting the violence? Well, it's money to be made. So if you separate the two, if you take the money away from the violence, then it will nullify the promotion of violence, thus dwindling the violence that you see on a day-to-day basis in the communities. Why? Because it would be less violence in the minds of the people being promoted. That's just a reality to it. Can we comprehend that for 1 minute? You think these Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and all the different Ivy League school graduates don't know this? Of course they know this. Why else would they have private prisons and control them, as well as the music that's coming out as gangster rap and control that too? You can't promote violence and not get violence. That just doesn't make any sense. So now they got y'all blaming violence on an object that doesn't move. Thus the gun. The gun don't move by itself. The gun don't pick itself up. The gun don't know nothing about a drive-by shooting. The gun don't know nothing about a mass shooting. It doesn't know anything about these things. It's just an object. And I'm not promoting any type of weaponry on no level. It's just we got to deal with the logic behind these things to understand what is our approach to stopping these things. That is the real raw reality. Have you ever seen a superhero cartoon? Do you see when superheroes is trying to stop violence, how much actual violence they bring to the city and the damaging of property and everything? These are things that go in the mindsets of the people and to the children as well. And until we understand these things and comprehend that you can't promote violence and then ask to stop violence, you'll never get nowhere. You'll never get nowhere. First, you got to stop the promotion to stop the violence. Let's say it together. Stop the promotion to stop the violence. Stop the promotion of gun violence to stop the violence. Stop the promotion of gun violence to stop the violence. See, but when you talk like that to these elites that control this system, you're telling them they can't get paid off of your demise. That's what you're saying. You're saying that the multi-billion-dollar industry of promoting violence can no longer make multi-million dollars off that violence. Do you think they're willing to do that? Exactly. So if you don't think they're willing to do that, then what make you think we can stop violence if we can't stop the promotion of violence? We got to go to Hollywood and many other places, that the radio stations and all these places that are promoting the violence, to stop the violence. That's how it works. You take the violence out of the mind and out of the ears of the people to change the children to becoming adults that don't see or know the violence. That's the only way you stop the violence. Stop the promotion of the violence, and we'll stop the violence in our community. We'll stop what's going on with the youth doing the things they're doing. You don't think if rap was rapping about paintbrushes, landscaping, carpentry, small engine repair, barbershops, and many other things, instead of flipping packs, that our children and our young adults won't be doing that? They're only doing what grown-ups are promoting to them to do. This is what's happening. But if you stop that promotion and you change the promotion, then things will change. Bottom line. Bottom line. And if you can't comprehend that, then you will never, ever, ever stop the violence in your community. That's just the reality to it. And that goes for all people everywhere that is watching. Because at the end of the day, if you want violence to be stopped in your community, then you go and protest and boycott the promotion of violence in your community, and will save lives.